far.
That extra gear, the first 3 steps.
Huge strides in the performance.
That I might not be the player I am today.
Okay, welcome to another episode of Behind the Gear. Today we have a little Christmas special here, bringing in the Christmas special with the round table, and I think everyone's actually sitting in the same spots you were in last time, so it's perfect. It's great. We got Wade.
How's everybody doing?
Very good, very good. How you doing, Wado?
I'm good. Just
Good?
finished my last paper for school, so the semester's over.
Nice.
Which is,
good. High school. How's high school going? Good.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah, my 13th victory lap.
Yeah, you're gonna be a doctor soon, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's good. That's good. And Kevy.
It's Kevin.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Kevin. Kevin, how you doing?
good.
Kevin Glerno.
Yeah.
Hurricane.
The tornado's back.
Oh, tornado.
Yeah.
Sorry, wrong tropical storm.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. What's new, Kevin?
Nothing.
No?
Nothing. No, just getting ready for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Excited that I don't have any kids to buy for yet.
Yeah. It's nice. Save you some money.
Yeah, just family members. Just watching you guys squirm because you don't have your kids' gifts yet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
That's good. That's good. And then we got Maxwell Campbell.
Hello.
What's new with you, Max? Anything?
Yeah, same. Kind of just getting ready for the holidays.
Yeah.
Yep. Enjoying a little time away from the rink here. Next week or so, but
And playoffs. Getting ready for playoffs.
getting ready for senior playoffs. Yeah, exactly.
The topic you didn't want to talk about comes out right in your intro.
Just get it out of the way.
Shout out to the boys.
The Dars.
Yeah, exactly. No, thanks for coming in.
What's going on with you, Dwayne?
Oh, nothing much. Going out east for Christmas, going to Nova Scotia, which is always a blast. Very, very different pace of life there. Like if you go to get a Tim Hortons at Timmy's and you're used to like Toronto style or London style, you're like, hey, let's get this going right away. There, it's just slow.
Very
and
laid back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's good. It's fun.
It is.
It'll be good. So yeah, we're going out for 8-9 days, which will be good, and see the in-laws, which is awesome. And tons of sweets and tons of stuff. But yeah,
What's the temperature?
you know
like
what?
there?
It's getting colder there a little bit. It's kind of like here, which is probably like in the low minuses, but hopefully get some outdoor rinks, and there's a pond right by the house. So hopefully we'll get on that a little bit. And but yeah, and every year when we go out every second year because we go to Sudbury one year and then Nova Scotia the other year. But
Oh yeah.
because we're good kids like that, you know, we like to spread the love and see our family and for our parents and stuff.
Yeah, that's why you live so close to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Do your kids ever ask like if you're like, do they even realize you don't do Christmas at your house, or do you guys do it on a different day?
No, we don't do Christmas at our house at all. We leave some gifts behind, and then we'll do it like when we come back. But no, we don't. And no, they haven't really. Like this is just kind of normal. And we thought that we would probably not do this. Like after we had kids, like we'll just stay put in London and have our own Christmas. But I don't know. It's just we just kind of enjoy it. There's always stuff going on there, and there's always like little parties and get-togethers and some ritual or family traditions, I guess, that are going on. So it's fun. Like it's good. And yeah, if you don't mind spending a couple grand to go away, it's great.
I'm sure your kids love knowing that their Christmas gift is a flight.
Yeah.
This year you're getting a flight to.
Yeah.
Next year you're getting gas money for Sudbury. They're pumped.
Here's
They
your
love
gas
Christmas.
Yeah, I thought Santa could find you everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, not this Santa. Actually, Matt just came up to me the other day, and he said, "Dad, is Santa real?" And I was like, what do you think?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know. Some boys at school." I think I said, "Why?" And he's like, "Well, some kids at school said it's not real. It's your parents." I was like, "Shit." And then he goes, "He's like, is he real?" I'm like, "Yeah, he's real. If you believe in it, you know it's real." And I'm like, "Why? What do you believe?" He's like, "I believe whatever you tell me." And I was like, "God, no, buddy, it's not real, man. It's mom and dad."
You like
I almost
crack a
wanted to
smile
pop it
though.
off.
Like
No.
I wouldn't be able to keep a straight face.
Oh, it was hard because I was like, you kind of almost, I don't like lying to my kids. Number one, this is something different. My dad did this for like a lot of years with us, probably till I was like 22, 23. But always said like, it's up to you. Like if you believe, then it's real. And kind of always played it that way, which I thought was good.
Yeah.
But man, when they actually ask you this question, you know you have to lie.
Were you surprised? Like, is that early? I don't know.
I think it's early.
Grade 6, I think, is when I started to catch on.
You would remember that.
Yeah. Why do you remember everything? Anything that has to do with school, Wade remembers.
Anything significant thing in his
December
life.
2nd, grade
down.
6.
You don't even want to know how I started to catch on.
Oh, I do. I do want to know. Are you feeling up a girl at grade 6? And she told you?
Shit.
Oh my God.
No,
Okay, wait. Before you answer this, did you have a beard in grade 6?
no, probably mutton chops, just the sideburns.
Okay. All
It
right.
looked like me.
Yeah.
Grade 6, he looked like me.
Yeah, but no, you know how like your parents will leave out milk and cookies to kind of play along with it. there was a black whisker in the milk because my dad would drink out of it to kind of like make it like drank a little bit, take a couple bites of the cookies. So that's when I.
You think it was a whisker, or do you think it was something else?
Chest hair.
Oh my Jesus! Maybe your mom and dad are
Am I done here yet?
So you actually you investigated the milk that closely that you saw it was a black whisker and you went at your dad and said, this is not.
I said, hey, what's up with that?
You must have clues by then. Because in grade 6, I mean, man.
Yeah. Oh, and they were pretty good, like at buying in like carrots out in the backyard.
Really?
Yeah. Throw tennis balls at the roof so that the reindeer were up there. And
no,
come on.
Yeah, that was when I was like younger, not like grade 6, but it was pretty legit.
Yeah. You'll be doing all that stuff with your kids, man, for sure.
You guys can hire me.
You'll be Santa.
I'll charge a premium on Christmas Eve. I'll come throw some.
You should actually put that on on Facebook or somewhere. You would actually, I bet you people would hire you to go
mock Santa kit.
There's for sure people that do that right now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like walk around on the roof.
Well, maybe not that far. Maybe, who knows?
No, throw tennis balls, man.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Like,
See, that's your business. It's authentic Christmas experience.
Scared of heights.
The only thing is, with your box feet, you wouldn't be able to go.
I crush right through. I can't go up.
You gotta say, why are the Rangers wearing snowshoes?
If I go up there, I'll end up in the attic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You guys want to talk about like hockey and stuff?
Yeah, sure. Like hockey Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. What do you guys think of the start of the season so far, though? Like, obviously, Wadeau, Toronto fan. What do you think of kind of some of the changes there and how they've? Is it frustrating as a Toronto fan, number one, to see a team is obviously good and got a lot of players and stuff underachieve, and then all of a sudden they make a coaching change and it's different. I'm not saying the coaching was everything, but he made a couple like no-brainer things that everyone's been complaining about for the last year and a half, 2 years, and starting to play guys more and more minutes and things like that. And now all of a sudden they're doing that and they're having a little bit more success. Like,
yeah, I think it's frustrating. Like most teams see some success when they change a coach just inherently, whether it motivates players, guys who never got an opportunity are now getting one. But the frustrating part is wondering like if he had a full training camp, a full couple of weeks on the onset of the season to see what Keefe kind of could have built up and developed and whatnot. Especially with things like I know their power play is still not going nearly as good as they would like it to be and stuff like that. So that's kind of the frustrating part watching it is he's definitely coming and using things like timeouts at the end of a game, or not even at the end of games, but in the middle of a power play. They're on a 5-on-3 and they've had 3 minutes. He'll call a timeout to kind of rest his star guys to send them back out there. Whereas Babcock, it was the only time he's calling a timeout is in the last minute of a game in a one goal hockey game and stuff. So he came in and he kind of did a lot of stuff, which I really like, but it would be interesting to kind of see, had he been there since the onset of the season, if he could have kind of instilled that stuff. Because their PK's gotten a lot better, but just their power play and stuff, there's still some kind of things going on there. Yeah. That if he'd maybe had a little bit more time at camp to kind of get things going, it might be a little bit different.
When you look at a guy like Keefe coming in and doing what he's doing and just coaching, feel like I think coaching got to feel the game. You can't have a rule that I never call timeouts. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, like, for sure.
You're in a 2-1 game. You got a 5-on-3 for 4 minutes. Like, yeah, call a timeout. Let your big boys go and play it again. And 99% of the guys on the bench be like, no, get them back out there. We want to win this game, right?
Yeah.
Where Babcock, to me, seems like a guy who obviously the stuff's coming out now, but just like setting his ways. It's his way or the highway. And he's going to, if you try to question him on something as management or whatever, he's going to show you by sitting a guy or putting him in for 16 minutes when he's your number one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How frustrating is that as a fan, like having kind of going through that?
I mean, who was the big pickup at the beginning of the year? Tyson Barrie, right? And then he doesn't even get one look. Yeah. One look under Babcock on power play one.
It's crazy.
One look.
Yeah.
And when their power play wasn't really successful, like I get it if everything's firing on all cylinders and it's just tough, we can't get you in right now. But they were struggling and Barrie doesn't get one look on power play one.
Yeah.
And and they told him he wanted him to completely change his game, play like a shutdown role. And it was just weird, like how he would approach it like that. And even stuff like following up, power plays or following up other teams' goals with your top line versus like fourth line grinders. Like Babcock, it was always the fourth line would roll out. Like he was still playing them like as if he still had Komarovs and Matt Martins and guys like from 4 or 5 years ago or whatever. But it's super frustrating just because there's just that disconnection between like management and the way the team's built and the way that ideally the team stylistically is kind of being implemented and whatnot. Yeah. And it could go both ways. Like I would argue that if Lou Lamoriello stayed around and they didn't go with Dubas, that connection between Lamoriello and Babcock probably would have been better. Sure. And in this case, it ended up going the other way between Keefe and Dubas. Yeah. But it was so much kind of pulling the rope in two opposite directions that it just didn't work.
Yeah, I know it makes sense for sure. Max, any other teams that impress you that you've kind of watched a little bit of that you like or that you're
Oh man, I'm bad for this. You guys are always so much more informed about all.
Yeah, because you don't
hockey
get free tickets to the Detroit game.
Yeah, I know.
You asked the wrong question. Max, what players are going to get you fantasy points?
Yeah, if we're doing fantasy,
yeah,
I can
there
tell
you
you
go.
guys
That's
what
what
players
I'm
are hot right now. The Jets guys are really starting to come around for me lately. I had
keep an eye on him.
Blake Wheeler, man, start of the year he was killing me.
And now he's on fire.
Oh, like him and Kyle Connor are just carrying my team right now.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't know, the Jets they had like a bit of a lull this year, I think, right? But like
Start of the year was tough. Like
They're hanging in there.
Like,
Yeah.
but they've been pretty solid, I think, most of the year. Like they're
Considering
even the
they
last
were
couple of
gonna-
years, they've been a fun team to watch. And I know the goalie Hellebuck is like a big
Lights
part of
out.
that too. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like again, I don't watch besides the Leafs, I don't watch a ton. Like the big thing with the Leafs, I can't even touch anything that you just did because you know a lot more about that than I
He's
do.
a super fan, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like listen to the podcast, and I we watch highlights in the office all day long. But with the Leafs,
give some insight to some players that you like watching. Like right now, the highlights are unreal. And some stuff that's going on, obviously in the league and that. But is there anything kind of like even like Schnesh or
Svechnikov, yeah.
Good one.
My tongue got tied there, but
stuff like that, like that. Yeah, that kind of stuff's kind of fun to see. Like some of those players with like crazy amount of skill, and even like one of minor hockey associations now with doing like development stuff. There's coaches asking. Like I went to a girls' team the other day, and like the coaches were all trying to do it like before practice. They're like, do you guys think this is actually going to become part of the game? And like, it's interesting because I guess you kind of actually have to field that question now. Like, is it going to be more popular? My response was like, maybe goalies are now going to have to plan like as they're sliding across. Like, are they going to have that sounds ridiculous, but like something to protect that that top corner, or maybe they're looking through the net a bit more. I don't know, but it's pretty crazy. It adds a new element to the game.
And
for sure.
I think to that, like if the players behind the net, a lot of times goalies might be one knee down on a post, where now they can't really be one knee down on a post. They've got to stand up a little taller because now not every, like if you've got Matt Martin behind the net, he's probably not going to scoop and put it up on you,
but
right?
Then you got to be more aware, I guess.
No,
Who is
totally,
behind the net?
For sure. There's a guy, I'm going to give a shout out here to one of our boys, but there's a guy who we play men's league with, who's still plays with us, and he's, it's a real fast paced men's league game. But nobody's, 50, 55, great guy. He's played for years, but he was doing this stuff a couple years ago, and like he thought this was like going to be the new
Next
NHL.
thing,
So you're going to lacrosse style everything down the ice, and now you're seeing it, right? And I think it's great. I think the skill set's awesome. And what I think is going to happen, this is my opinion, but is the NHL is going to put a rule in where like basically like almost like basketball, not like basketball, but kind of like you're not going to travel. You can't take the puck from your own end, scoop behind your net, and then come down the ice and kind of whirl it on without high sticking, keeping it at your waist, and because kids will figure that out, and then it's not really hockey, right? But I think, is there a spot where you can have a puck on your blade for like 2-3 seconds and make a play with it? Yeah, 100%. Like there's some, now it's got to be quick and you got to be skilled to be able to do it. But like the way they're scoring those goals is, I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
and it adds a whole element of like, even for us, like on our side, is teaching. It's not something that we throw in the repertoire on how to scoop pucks, which 2-3 years ago, like that's ridiculous. Hot dogging, as if you wouldn't teach that. Like, and now it's like, well, I don't know, maybe we do actually teach how to scoop a puck, because there's different ways to scoop it too. For any hockey coach or parent or kid listening out there, like there's different ways to scoop it. It's not always just like on nice fresh sheet and slide it and flip it up on your blade. You can scoop it on the as you're wheeling. You can do a lot of different stuff with it, right? So.
Oh yeah, there's a lot that comes into play for sure. But it's fun to see. Kevin and I try to work on a little bit before our skates sometimes. Yeah. Little chips up, flipping it up. But
that's a process. You said you've been doing it for.
I've been trying for a long time. It's just fun. It's just, and you're right. Sure. Like kids are always trying to. You go out there, start a practice. Kids are trying to flip it up. And I don't know. Maybe.
But look at last night. Somebody tried it. I can't remember what team. Somebody tried it behind the net, and the D stepped up and whacked their stick. And to your point, Dwayne, I disagree with you. I think there'll be a rule, but I don't think it's realistic in any, for what I see, that people are going to be able to skate end to end. Someone's just going to hit their stick. I think personally, but maybe you're right. Maybe it will become someone trying to like,
who knows?
And if you have no one around you, why pick it up? Like, I'm going to make a better play with it on the ice than I am with
it. But it looks sick.
Yeah, it does look sick.
And you'll make a highlight reel. Do you want to bet on if they make a rule on it or not?
There's a guy that
I don't even care which side I'm on. I just want to bet.
I played with a guy, or I don't know if I was on his team or playing against him when I was playing the East Coast for a little bit, but he did that. He did like end to end. Like this guy was super kind of skilled with the puck as well. But you have to Google it after. But
Really?
yeah, you have to watch. Like he actually goes for like a decent shot. He doesn't score, but I think he even gets a shot on net. I can't remember. Yeah. But like in the East Coast, he was a smaller guy, quick, right? Like like kind of shifty, but he was able to keep the puck like on his. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Sure. And again, like your curves play a lot into that. Sure. Like even your tape jobs, little stuff. Start of the period, end of the period, like
ice on your blade.
Yeah,
like, yeah.
But
we've talked about going through your legs on here a bunch. But Matt Tkachuk did it again last night. He didn't score, but you look at it now, it's not like it wasn't even a highlight. It wasn't even a thing. He just tried it and it didn't look out of place. Like he changed the angle of the shot. He was in pretty tight on this one and he changed the angle of the shot. Goalie came out, hit him in the shoulder. Like it was a good attempt, but it wasn't like, oh man, he's being ridiculous. Like he tried it again. Like no, it made complete sense. Like instead of going to his backhand, made more sense to try to put it on the far side. It's on, I don't know. It's what's going to be next. Yeah. Well, like I think that was it. Through the legs was like, holy, it happened once. And then a year later it happened again. And now it's happening once a weekend. Yeah. Maybe that's a lot. No. And now it's picking up the
once
pucks.
a week. It's in games for sure.
Almost every game now. Like maybe not again, but like it happens not only like in front of the net or on shots. Like I was just thinking like, I remember like trying this myself even, but like a guy's coming on the boards on you on a penalty kill or something and you have like body position. If you have the flexibility to go between your legs and now you're in a different position to get just enough to chip it out or just to get out of the zone, like, I don't know, stuff like that.
If you pull that off on a penalty kill, that is unreal.
Well, you'd have to like suck the guy in. You're not going to do it full speed, but like if you can change,
Yes. But even off a rim, like you, as a lefty on a rim, puck comes up on your forehand, you like almost tap it, turn and put it through your legs and snap it away from the D. You know what I mean? Like,
but think of how far that's gone, you know, since Merrick Malik, however long ago that was. Like that's where kind of the first guy, right? That did it in a shootout. And what was that? I don't know. Wade will know. That was 10 years ago.
All I remember was his 6th celebration after.
Hey, good thing we brought Rain Man with us. Free call everything for us.
No, but maybe you are right. Maybe I already lost the bet. Like, where's this picking up the puck thing going to go to?
I don't know. And I think like, you know, let's say between the leg stuff, like not even stick between the legs, but even just like attacking a D and sliding it through your legs, going on the other side of them, right? Yeah. That took like probably 3-4 years to become normal. Yeah. Whereas year 1, it was like, you're going to get punched in the face for doing that. Year 2, you're going to get chirped by your teammates in the other team. And then year 3, you know, really the progression now, everyone does it. It's a wicked move. You can create space, whatever, right? I think things are happening way faster now. Like the leg, like I think it was Leg, right? Who scored one of the first one in Michigan, right? Which is years ago. Yeah. And it took a while, obviously, and guys have done it here and there, minor hockey and you know, minor pro, whatever. And then now it's like, I think when it hits the main stage of the NHL, it's like, okay, wow, this is, you know, it's happening. Yeah. And I think now it's going to be quicker and quicker and quicker for skills to like get learned and then passed on, just because Instagram and YouTube and all the stuff kids are watching. You're going to see a skill like that. And then all of a sudden someone's doing a tutorial on how to teach it and how to do it and how this is the easy way to do it. And the next thing you know, kids are trying it and mocking it and now they're doing it. Right.
Yeah. Did you guys see the clip of Carolina this week? Like at practice, it was after practice. So you can see like the bucket out in front of the net, like they're picking up pucks and there's 3 guys. One of them being Svechnikov was like, they were working on it, just practicing it. Like there was just 3 of them there and he was picking it up every time. And the other guys were like struggling with it or whatever. Now, end practice, bad ice, you know, they couldn't pick it up, whatever. But yeah, they were just like messing around at the end. Like, so, and you know, those guys are messing around. Like think back to when we were practicing, didn't matter if you had extra ice, like you're going to do something. This is just what the new kind of trendy thing is. And it's not even a trendy thing. It's something that's scoring goals.
Yeah.
So.
No, definitely. It's super cool. So, Kevin, anybody that impresses you watching? I know you watch a lot. Have a couple of whiskeys at night and watch a couple of games.
You know what? I'm more like, I don't know. And you guys tell me if you guys do this. Like you go to watch a game, like you turn it on, and I watch it on the NHL Network, like on Apple TV. So I got all the games there. And do you like sometimes look at games? You're like, no chance, not watching that one. Like just they're like, it's not exciting
Minnesota?
Games. Or like, even like the Islanders is good, and they got like exciting plays like Barzal. But I'm like, nope, not interested. You know. And then other games, and you're like, I want to watch that one. You know, Dallas is a team for me that I like watching. Like there's a bunch of guys, and honestly, I hate saying this, especially on the air, but like Toronto is an exciting team to watch. They got high skill guys. There's always something, either a bad giveaway for like a goal, or they're creating offense. There's a few teams that I really enjoy watching.
I actually enjoyed Toronto more under Babcock. just because it was so bad. As far as like Matthews, you check his minutes, it's like 16 minutes. Are you kidding me, man? This guy's one of the best goal scorers in the NHL and playing 16 minutes. And then you're right, to your point.
Patty Marleau in the last minute.
It was
2-piece stick.
And the same boots he's worn for 20 years. I have a neighbor who's like a diehard Toronto fan, and I just like love. Now he's so excited when Babcock got fired, like he was losing his mind to get this guy fired. But it's one of my favorite things in the day, just to rip on him about how bad Toronto is. And now they're better, so I'm like, oh man, it's a little bit tougher. Anybody else that you're watching that's good?
Well, I mean, there's no better team in the NHL than the Hawks, so we'll spend a lot of time watching the Hawks.
Better at what though? Like, what are they? Are they good at hockey, ice hockey, or
they're still in the league. Yeah, they're still playing.
they got refs and jerseys and stuff.
Yeah,
they got a good couple lines, eh? Good couple.
They got some
lines.
high end forwards. Yeah, couple. Even DeBrincat's pretty fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, he's really good.
Strome, DeBrincat, Kane. Are they playing together right now?
They were. I think they split them up.
Yeah.
No one called me to check in, but I'm pretty sure.
Where are they sitting right now?
They're just a little south of a playoff spot. But I think I'm gonna head down there. We're gonna have some meetings over the Christmas break and get ready for a playoff push.
Nice. That's good.
No, I like just watching exciting teams, like exciting games. With I'm all, if I'm watching a game, I want to watch offense.
Same.
I'm an old school fan.
Naturally.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Colorado's one team that I've talked about before. And I always like gravitate to a little bit just. And one thing I wanted to bring up with you guys is because talking about Colorado a little bit, and even Vancouver with Quinn Hughes, and then Colorado with Makar. With young kids coming up right now, I know like when we grew up, I don't know about you guys, I played a little bit of defense, and I know Wade, you're a defenseman, but I always wanted to play forward. I always wanted to score, and being like, not a lot of kids growing up were like, I want to be a D. Like I'm in for, right?
Stop players.
Yeah, most people were just, everyone wants to play forward, and then the big guys got back on D, or the guys who couldn't skate very well were back on D, and that's kind of how it went. But now you look at these young guys and how they're playing and how they're jumping in the league at young ages, and they're legit at 20, 21, and like helping tremendously from the back end, jumping in plays below the goal line. Like I love it, but it's defense has become more of like a hybrid position now, right? Where you got to skate, and if you want to be good, you can still be a good shutdown, stay at home defenseman. But man, for some of these young kids coming up, it's kind of exciting because now you need skill, you need hands, you need to shoot, you need to be able to skate. There's so many things that go with it, right? Yep. Do you guys think that this changes things going forward for these young kids coming up now that are, let's say like at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, they're going to be watching Makar at 22, 23, 24, potentially winning the Norris and being a legit, top 5 defenseman, a Doughty, for young guys, like probably maybe a little bit right around you, probably a little bit older than you for sure, but you watched him kind of growing up a little bit, right?
Favorite player growing up.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, what is that? And is he a guy that kind of helped you solidify your spot in that position as far as I want to be a D-man?
I switched late. Like going into my draft year at 16, I played forward all the way up. Up until that point, I did a little bit of like toolbox work, kind of going back and forth with injuries and stuff. But I'd never played like a full season. I'd never been taught how to play D. There's just always an okay skater, and generally, like if you're going to put somebody back that's a forward, you generally at this point it was starting to become a little bit more an emphasis on skating. It wasn't so much being huge and like long stick and stuff like it used to be.
Yeah.
But I think that's a big part of it is like how was defense taught 15 years ago? Right. So like be tough in the corner, wrap a guy up, like wait till your centers come and support and get the puck, and then okay, good job, I'll get off the ice.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's a lot more of like skating and being able to see the ice and things like that. So I think it was kind of sold and marketed to kids really poorly, like growing up. Like
that's true. Yeah, that's
just
a good
like,
point.
Why would I want to play D if all I'm doing is battling in the corner, chipping it off the glass, and then skating on the bench and then sitting for 45 seconds? I want to be a forward. I want to go. I want to score. I want to do other things. So I think now that it's changing, like you look at that Shabbat the other night, what did he play? 37 minutes?
37.
Like
second highest ever.
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Was that in a 60-minute
you want to play more hockey?
game,
what position are you going to play?
No, was that OT?
60 minute, no
just,
OT.
Wow.
37. It was like 12 seconds off the record since the 04-05 lockout.
That is
It was
crazy.
just under 38. And little trivia for the
insane.
fellas who had the highest one. It was just over 38 minutes.
Okay, wait, give us one. Can you give us one hint?
Is he still playing?
Not still playing, but within the last 10.
That's not my hint though. Last what?
I'll give you a big hint.
Okay.
Played for the Knights, like for the London Knights.
I got it.
And
No, I'm just kidding.
he's
He's not playing anymore?
No, not in the NHL anymore.
Dennis
from
Weidman.
around this area.
Who?
Dennis Weidman.
Holy. That's a good guess.
Dennis Weidman.
Oh.
That's it.
Dennis Weidman.
Good one, Blazer.
I got it.
Yeah.
No, my earphones loud. I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you. So.
That's it.
I don't know why I
Really?
thought him. Because
I
maybe
would've
he's
never got-
retired now. Because I was thinking like like some of those other D-man, but like
I was gonna say
Method, but he's still playing, or no?
I don't think actually, but it might be injury
Recently.
related. I don't know.
I don't know.
Was he was in Dallas?
He got his finger cut off by Crosby at one point, wasn't he?
Like 3 years ago. Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question now.
I don't know.
But think about going back to your point. Think about like even when we were growing up, and I'm agreeing with you. Like other than let's say Bobby Orr, who was like when I was growing up, that was for all of us, maybe other than Blazer, that was like even ancient for us, right? Like Bobby Orr, like we never saw him, whatever. Paul Coffey, a little bit more offensive, obviously could skate, whatever. But other than that, who were the D that from my childhood that I like names that I'm gonna remember, like McInnes, Iafredi, those are the guys
Brian
like
Leach.
and they could all Leach. Okay, there's another example on the other side, but like they were guys that like
But they were
big,
anomalies,
strong,
at the time.
and could take slap shots.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like exciting offensive players. And to your point, like now these young guys are coming in and making an impact. I mean, even Makar, like it's not even like he was a college guy, and all the guys that generally now make impacts are coming from major junior. So I think it's really, really cool to see what, even last year he went from, in the same week, he went from the Frozen Four, like the NCAA finals, to a playoff game. And I think he got a point or something his first score.
Scored, I think,
first period of his first game. And then now he's, a top 3, if not, he's leading rookies, and he's top 3 or 5 in D scoring, whatever. Like it's awesome to see that.
Exactly.
And that is exciting for like, I think kids, like, they
I
don't
think
know
it's
any different.
great,
They just
man.
see his
Yeah,
name.
for
They see
sure.
highlights. Like how often does your guy like Maddox grab an iPad and just watch highlights? Like I know he knows how. So he's seeing defensemen like on a highlight reel. Like it's awesome.
No, for sure.
Other than just like the All-Star game every year where they hammer slap shots.
Yeah.
So
It's true for sure. I think it's good for the game too. I think it's like, and it's good for like young coaches and young, parents to be able to say, no, man, there's like Drew Doughty, there's this Cale Makar, he's like, watch this kid, watch how they play. And defense isn't just staying on the blue line and not being involved in play.
Yeah.
Defense is going, man, playing, get in the play, jump in it. Like, I think that's so fun for the kids, obviously, and getting them to get into it for sure. But even a guy like John Carlson, like how sick is his start, right? He's over a point a game as a D-man. He was like leading the league for a little bit in the first like 10, 15 games of the year. And again, it's just one of those things, like he's obviously, one of the I think he's leading point scorer on his team right now. It was a legit team. And he's a defenseman, which again goes back to the point of, man, it's fun. Like it's good. It's a positive thing for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. Kind of shows you too, like how like deep that league is and how good those players are. Cause he's obviously an all-star, but like he was never like in the spotlight that he is this year.
Totally.
And he's been that same player maybe the last, who knows, 4 or 5 years, but now he's having that breakout year. Yeah. And like you think about going the other way, like even they were talking about like Klingberg, right? From Dallas, right? He's a young kid too, right? He's pretty young.
Heiskanen's the other one that's really young.
Yeah.
And then
But
Klingberg's
like Klingberg had crazy points last year, and now he's kind of gone the other way, but they're still like stud, being in the right situation, maybe right team. Yeah. Again, like you said, some newer guys coming into Dallas, maybe he's not getting the minutes he was, but like it can change so much from year to year.
I think too, some of it, like you have a little bit of puck luck too, right? Like
you have to,
even this year, like I've watched obviously a lot of the Capitals games, and some of the shots, like great opportunity, good spot to be in, shoots puck, it goes like under the arm through the, like, it's just like kind of catches the jersey, goes in. Yeah. Great. It's a good goal, but it's like, man, like, but 90% of that time, or 90% of the time that gets stopped,
I think we've all, like, at some point we've all kind of been there too, where you're having those years, or even if it's like a part of your year where you're having that success, then you have the confidence to shoot the puck more. Yeah. Now those are going in, and it's almost becomes like a joke within your team where it's like, this guy's so hot, like just keep shooting it. Like your line mates are like, don't give it to me, just keep ripping it. And that's what's going on for him right now. And it's pretty.
But it's true though. I think that you hit on something that's massively important, especially for youth hockey players and young hockey players, that confidence.
Huge.
Right? You started like making some passes, and I've gone through games or periods where I'm like, everything I do right now is working. Yeah. Like I can throw sauce cross,
everything just slows down.
Pick it up somehow.
It slows down for you.
Yeah. Even a bad pass turns into an assist off a skate or something like it. So yeah, you're right. Like, and then once you get that confidence, and then you're trying different things, you're shooting pucks that you normally wouldn't shoot that end up going in just because you're confident.
Sure.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, that's such a big part of any sport, but especially with hockey, it's important to have that confidence and play. Obviously, play with confidence.
It's like the whole like kind of theory behind like having a slump or like or your hot streaks, right? Like that's hockey's so finicky like that, where once you're hot, like you're feeling it, and then you have a couple bad games and your confidence is down, and it's like same thing. You're scared to make certain plays. You don't want to such an up and down game, just like a lot of sports. But it's
it's so true. The next thing you know, you get sent down and you get cut, and then here we are. Yeah. So if I had a little more confidence, maybe I'd be in the NHL is what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe.
We'd ask you that question, but we know you only watch Washington.
Yeah.
So you'll just watch Washington and whoever they're playing.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I think I'm like you guys probably. I like, aside from Wado, who's got a Toronto Maple Leafs tattoo on his neck.
There's a couple of them.
No, but I just like, I like watching games. So I'll kind of go through the who's playing that night, and then I'll kind of. But there are some teams and for no other reason than just maybe time zone differences or my vision of them when I played Sega hockey and they sucked. You know what I mean? Like, but there's teams I'm not interested in watching. There's other teams I love watching. I like watching Calgary, like watching Vancouver, like watching Colorado, obviously. And then I love watching Toronto as well. Montreal is always one that I really enjoy kind of watching, because some of these teams, and this is something I was going to ask you guys as well, like, how important is coaching? Like, not only in minor hockey, because I think coaching is very important in minor hockey as far as teaching the kids structure and all that kind of stuff. But you look at the NHL, like, how many teams right now are okay roster wise? They have good players, obviously, but no like crazy superstars, and Montreal being one of them, and are playing well. Buffalo, like, obviously they have Eichel and a couple other good players, but I mean, man, look at Edmonton. Their roster hasn't changed a ton, but they're playing way better than they ever have been over the last little bit. And they've had the same sick players for a couple of years, right? So how important is coaching? And again, like, the one that always pops up when you talk about coaching is going to be New York Islanders. They lose Tavares, they get a new coach. Like, oh man, it's going to be a rebuild. It's going to be and they're good last year and they're good again this year. And they're playing this, they're playing that same structure, that same style, right? So how important is coaching? Like, is it, because a lot of times you think things go bad, like, just fire the coach. Right. And we'll change it up. We'll change it up. But how important is having a good coach? So I don't know. Wade, what do you think?
I think it's super important. I just
think if you went back to your select team that you coach that are 6 and 7 years old,
I am the team.
Couldn't win without me.
You're embarrassing me, boys. You're embarrassing me.
But no, I think it's huge, especially just, players want to play, right? But imagine if you went out there, no coaches. Like, how do you think that would come across? How do you think it would look? Like, they do so much. I think people watching from home kind of forget that, like, how frantic it is to even just kind of manage lines and, like, be aware of what the other team's got on the ice and then what guys you're sending over the boards. Okay, penalty just came up. Now we got to change that whole plan that I just had in my head. Now we got to scramble a little bit. Like, they're managing so much. So I think coaching is huge. And then on top of that, just even organizing, they're also trying to instruct and say, hey, we got to be on the D side of the puck, or, you got to get that puck deep, and they're adding all these different little tidbits in. But I think all the teams that I ever played on that I would consider would be better teams, it was a big part of it would be because we felt like we had a purpose. We knew every night what we wanted to go do. We were skilled, we were talented, but we felt like that the framework with which we played was really well laid out, and we really all bought into it, and we thought it made sense to kind of the makeup of our team. If a coach just kind of showed up, dropped the pucks off, and just ran the whistle a little bit, it would have been chaos, right? And so I think it's a big part, but there's so many different pieces that are at play on any given moment that kind of can influence it and make it that much harder, right?
Yeah.
So
I think too, like, just look, like, seeing it at the pro level, like at the NHL level. I think, to your point, you're right. As a viewer and just a person that loves the NHL and watching games, you have no idea how much work that head coach, assistant coach, and video guys and goaltending coach put in to that day-to-day video. The amount of video these guys watch is insane. It's crazy. I bet it'd be 4 or 5 hours of straight, like, pretty much straight video in a 24-hour day, which it's not that much. Sit at your computer and watch 5 hours of video of hockey. You go bananas, right? But the amount of work they put in, and then that putting together your video, review for the players, your shift clips, your power play, like, all, it's nuts, man. But so you're right, like, the amount of stuff they do, and then that's just one part of it. Then on the bench, like, there's such a skill and such a maturity process for coaches that are good at on the fly stuff, line matching, getting guys over for face-offs, knowing their face-off plays, like, make sure your guys know the face-off plays. And then that structure and stuff is obviously huge, and you got to get your players to buy in. So, and also on top of that, coaches are setting up team building, even at the NHL level, like in minor hockey, same thing, but team building stuff, making sure that, are we practicing today or we're not practicing today? Are we having an optional? Are we doing, like, it's endless on the stuff that they deal with, you know, and then you throw the media in there, you throw all that stuff at the NHL level, but it's such a demanding job. So when these guys are getting paid $3, $4, $5 million, I know it's like, well, that's crazy, but it's a lot of work, man. And if you have a coach making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 as an assistant coach, which is not, it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but not a lot of money in the grand scheme of what the pay salaries are in the NHL.
Other sports, even.
Man, they're not making very much money for the amount of work that they do. Yeah. You know, they're there 12, 8 to 10 hours a day. You know, it's
for sure.
It's a lot of traveling nonstop. Don't get a lot of time with their family and stuff. Yeah,
totally. Kev, do you ever have any like coaches that kind of implemented good structure that was like, man, this is aside? Well, you can say your dad too if you want.
Yeah, he was the best.
No, like, is there anything that you remember like that? Because
I look back at my coaches and I didn't have a ton. And I like, even if I'm just looking at, I had a couple different coaches in college, and one that stands out is like, I can see all these changes that are happening, and let's take out the changes in the NHL that are like, whatever, disciplinary or behavioral, but when they're making coaching changes, I can totally see, and I didn't play in the NHL, but just having like junior college, whatever coaches, like how a coach can lose a dressing room really, really quick, and specifically one coach I'm thinking of, like, there's no chance. And we were only there for a little bit, but some of these coaches over like 2, 3, 4, 5 years, like I see how players just stop responding to them. And I'm not saying this is happening, but even look at Tampa right now. Like they're struggling, and last year everyone was talking about Cooper and how great he is and how the guys love him and whatever. And I have no idea if the word on the street is that it's opposite now, or the guys, maybe that wasn't true last year. Maybe the guys still love him. I don't know. Maybe they're just having an off year, but you wonder like what's going on in those rooms. Like, how does that change? We mentioned Edmonton, and they didn't have a lot of changes and they were on the upswing. Like everyone's surprised. Yeah. Well, there's nobody that is like, oh, I totally called Tampa to be out of a playoff spot at Christmas this year. I called it. They set the record for wins last year. Yeah. Don't make many changes, same coach, everything, and they're out of the playoffs. Like, I look at that sometimes, and I think I do this, and I don't know if, I would think you guys probably do this, but like, you think about these situations and then sometimes compare them to like things you've been through, even on a smaller scale. But I remember this coach that was just like, yeah, you play, you love the game, you love the guys, but like, you're not that upset, like, or surprised, when this year I'm talking about, we had a tough year, we weren't very good. And you're just like, this coach is just in here every day, reaming us and doing this and acting like this. And they're the boss. I get it. But like, why, you've lost the room. Like and we weren't making millions of dollars playing or whatever. Yeah. So I can see how that happens. And I would imagine you probably have bigger egos than ever in the NHL. So guys making all that money, like, I don't envy that job, first of all, with those coaches trying to, that's hard. That's tough, but that's a tough one. I don't know if you guys have ever had like but
even just going back to Cooper, like, I wonder how he's handling that, situation that he's in this year. Yeah. It's like going from being on a winning team for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years at least. Sure. And now all of a sudden he's, maybe he's got, I know like Vasilevsky's not having a great year. He's on my fantasy team. But yeah, like, and obviously it definitely stems with the management and the coaching staff, but like, you got to have that core group of leadership too in the room, and who knows how they're acting or how they're handling with the situation. Are they staying positive, because they're a team. If they can get through this little, and they have been lately, they've been starting to pick it up a little bit more, but if they can get back to where they were, they're going to be fine. Yeah. But that's the kind of the fine line. If it reaches that point where it's too far gone, then these coaches get put in that situation. And it's like, it's tough. You're right. It's a tough job. It's not something that I wouldn't want to get into either right now, but a lot of respect for those guys for sure.
I totally agree. I think one of the hardest things too is everyone's quick to judge, right? Like, oh, this coach is doing this. And even internally, even within assistant coaches and coaches, they're easy to judge the head coach or judge the assistant coach is not doing this, or especially the head coach. Obviously, most falls on him, but always too soft on the elite players. Or always too hard on the whatever, right? On Stamkos or whoever it is. But he's got to manage all these relationships and make sure Stamkos likes him. Make sure, Kucherov's happy. And I think at the end of the day, you want to, if you can like work hockey, whatever, doesn't matter. You want to make it a fun environment, man. You come to the rink every day and guys are having fun and it's enjoyable. It's great. And we all know you go on a 5-game skid or win one game out of your last 6. it sucks, man. It's not hard. It's not easy to go to the rink. But if you have a coach like, guys, don't worry about it. Like, we're fine. Look how good we are. We're going to be fine. Like, we got to get to work though. We got to put the work boots on. Let's get to work and making it fun. You know, then it changes that whole, you know, you can get guys out of that funk. But to your point, Kev, if you turn off a couple older guys and that coach is a hardo and, you know, these older guys like, what are you doing, man? They will change your entire room. And those young guys will be like, well, what Stamkos said or Crosby said, I'm following him. Like, I'm not.
You think like, I think it was you, somebody said it earlier, I think it was you, but you said like Babcock seems to be like my way or the highway, no matter what. And I would think if I was a coach, and I would love if I was playing, that my coach would do this, like take themselves outside the room for a second and say, okay, what's the big picture? Are the guys happy? Are they, whether, you know, and it'd be different questions if you're winning or losing, or if you're overachieving, underachieving, whatever, but are the guys happy? Are we overworking them? Are we underworking them? Are we getting enough out of it? You know what I mean? And coaches are, I think there's some coaches, and Babcock's probably an example, is of like, no, it's just the team works the way he wants it to, no matter what. And other coaches, I'm going to guess a guy like Trotz is like, okay, this is the team. This is how we're going to, you know, I got to change a little bit to make this team successful. And I mean, you've had the chance like to coach Major Junior and be in the, you know, NHL, AHL coaches room a little bit. Do you see some of that where coaches are like, or maybe it's an assistant coach stepping up and being like, hey, we need to back off a bit, or, you know, here's the feeling in the room. I'm hearing whispers from the guys. Like, here's the feeling. Like, you know, does that happen?
And I've coached and been around guys that are really acceptive to that. So like, you come in, you're like, hey man, the guys are bagged, and our captain just said, hey, can they have a day off tomorrow? You know, and coach, yeah, you know what? Yeah, it's fine. Tell them they got to be in here at 10 a.m. for a quick little video session, then they can have the day. Okay, cool. You know, so, but then you win points that way, right? Then the boys like, okay, they're listening to us. That's good. Now that could stretch where they're like every fourth day, like, hey, we need a day off, you know? And obviously you nip that. But, and then I've also been on the other side of it where, you know, that just goes on deaf ears. And of course, you know, that's what we're doing. We're doing this tomorrow. And I think, you know, some of it works. And if you have a good coaching staff, I think you definitely want to make sure everyone's on the same page and you're bouncing stuff off each other, you know, and we're making a decision together, not coming to the coach's room and being like, hey boys, we're taking the day off tomorrow. Or, hey boys, we're practicing tomorrow. I know it's supposed to be a day off, but we're practicing tomorrow. So tell the boys. And the coach staff's like, what? Like, I thought we had a day off and I'd plan to go to Disney with my wife or, you know, whatever. Right. And so that I think is important too, because then you lose your coaches. And when you lose your assistant coaches, you're done, because they're the ones they're the ones who have those. Most of the assistant coaches have a really good relationship with the room and a couple key guys, right? If you're a defense coach, you're tight with your D-core. If you're a forwards coach, you're tight with your. So those guys are confiding in you a little bit, and like, why is he being such an a-hole? Like, what's going on here? And the assistant coach doesn't like you. He's like, man, I don't know. Like, just we got to do it. Like, and then they're almost on the player's side, and then you're done. So I think that happens a lot. And I think, you know, in the situation of some of these coaches that we've seen go, not for any kind of social stuff, but just more for just coaching. I think a lot of it is that they lose the room a little bit. You know, maybe the assistant coaches aren't on board with it, and then it just kind of trickles. And I think a lot of the players now know that, man, if we ride this out long enough, we can go on a good 7-game skid. And I'm not saying they want to do this at all, but man, if we can, like, let's get him out of here. This guy's brutal. He's making our lives miserable. We make millions of dollars playing in the NHL. We love it, and every day we come to the rink, we hate it. Yeah, just get him out of here. Like, you know,
it's hard to think like somebody at that level, they're making that kind of money and they've worked so hard to get there, that they would do something like that. But at any level, like if things aren't going right for you, then you're gonna do whatever you know
for sure
you have to do. Even if a coach means, you know what, my time's probably run out here, and you know, I had a good run, and if that's what's gonna happen, I'm gonna stick to my guns, and whatever happens. Or you get in that same situation, and I think like the coaches that always kind of fight for a team regardless of how you're doing, those are the teams that are gonna, you know, ultimately get out of those ruts, or, you know, they see that guy later in their career and they have respect for that guy. That guy fought for us. He stuck around, and I think that's the, like we've talked about it before, how the coaches kind of just recycle in the NHL. So at some point, and maybe they're getting away from that now too. Maybe that's about to change as well. But I'm sure that's something they consider too.
Oh, for sure. And what do you think of the coaching changes now, as far as, so I'll ask this to you, Wado, but as far as like all these coaches going out for whatever reason it is, doesn't matter, but the whole social movement, the whole, like, for cheesy label on it, but like that whole coaching Me Too movement by the players, which is fine. Where do you see this going in the next couple of years? Is it give more opportunity to young coaches come in? Is it going to be a recycle league still, where same goalie coach gets hired again? The same, you know, and some of them are good, so they should get rehired, no doubt. But some of them are terrible. And if you ask any of the players, like, guy's brutal, and he gets hired again by this guy and hired again by this guy. But there's a young, goalie coach, for instance, that's 27 years old, can't chomping at the bit, has some new ideas, and he can't get hired because a 75-year-old goalie from, back in the days is still a goalie coach.
I think the landscape's changing. As for the turnover, I think a lot of it's going to be how many of these coaches want to kind of reinvest in themselves and kind of continue to develop themselves. I think a big part of it, the way it's kind of been established, is the locker room, especially in a sport like hockey. It's super dynamic and it's super specific, right? Like it's a really unique environment in terms of just kind of how you go through your day to day. There's a lot of like little nuances of just kind of the guys and how to kind of deal with them and all like the little things that kind of go on into a season and in the day to day. I know right now the big talk is there's a gentleman, I don't know his name, so I don't want to try to butcher it, but he's a European coach because there's never been really a European. I think Ralph Kruger maybe was the first for Buffalo there, but there's really never been European coaches to come over. Why is that? I don't necessarily have the answer, but I think it's changing a little bit. The other thing too is, and kind of talking about what Maxie was touching on and how everything's changing is like, the NHL and sports it's still a workplace. Think of any other workplace and how much professional development goes into it. You go to conferences, you go all the different things. Like it's surprising to me. Like now I've always grown up with it, how kind of revolutionary this idea of skill development and Keefe having 2 twin pads with a D go on one pad and the forwards on the other. And they're just working on a couple skills that can play into the systems that they overall are trying to achieve. Like the fact that that's revolutionary is kind of crazy. Like everybody else in every other profession is trying to get better at that profession so that they can go back to their workplace and be a better worker. But in the NHL, it's just kind of this presumption that when you're drafted at 18, 19, 20, you have maybe a 3-year window on your ELC where it's like you got to get to your maximum potential in that and then 10-year career and then you're out. And if you don't make it in that 3-year window, there's a next wave kind of coming in. Yeah, so I think the landscape is kind of changing a little bit. It'll become, I think, a little bit more professionalized. I know even in Canada, like at the NCCP level, the coaching certification program, there's an actual like chartered professional coach now. I'm not saying that you need to get that to be in the NHL or anything, but there's more emphasis on doing more to become a good coach rather than just, did you play? Okay, sweet. Here's your bench. Go ahead at it. But more like they're adding ethics courses and things like that afterwards and whatnot. So I think the whole landscape's changing, but as to touch on your point, I think the turnover is going to be if some of these guys who have great knowledge on how to play the game and X's and O's and how it goes, just if they want to invest in themselves and learn more about like the human element, the player element, and kind of the relationship aspect of coaching and whatnot. So,
yeah. And I think, you mentioned about the Keefe and having 2 ranks and 4s on one D on the other. I think more teams are doing that for sure. I think it can go a long way, to be honest with you. And I think, you look at a football team, how many coaches are on a football team? I don't even know because I'm not heavy in the football, but there's offensive coordinator, defensive, special teams, like it's
catching
crazy,
coaches,
right?
throwing coaches. Yeah.
All that stuff, right? So I think the NHL maybe potentially will get there eventually, but can you make gains? Can you help these first 3-year guys on their entry-level contracts? Can you help them get better by doing skills and help them at their craft and help them on their position-specific play? 100% you can. So why not invest in that side of it to help better product, better, better bunch of players, better team, better results, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's huge. And then to your point, I think, you spoke, to that like a 45-year-old MBA student. But
yeah, seriously.
Embarrassing. I'll shut this podcast down in a second here. But no, but I think like that professional development piece is massive. Like, and why don't more coaches? Like they'll go to one coaching clinic in the summer, which is a joke with a bunch of guys, NHL guys that don't even want to do it.
Speak at it.
Right. And that's it for most of them. Right now, I think a lot of coaches do other stuff like meet other coaches and talk about systems and all that, which is which is good, right? For sure. So that to me kind of chalks up a little bit as some professional development, but it's unique because an NFL football coach wouldn't potentially go to like some random course or some random weekend thing on leadership if he didn't trust who's doing it. And you know what I mean? So it's like, you got to figure out the right things to do, but I think there's definitely opportunity to grow and get better for sure.
And it's collaborative. Like I think as a coach, I don't think you need to be a sports psychologist. You don't need to be a skill development guy but you need to kind of have a generalized understanding of all these different elements and how they kind of all intertwine. So like I know, for example, Phoenix, Arizona Coyotes, butcher that, but Arizona Coyotes, their team, their strength coach.
There he is.
Pennsylvania.
Their strength coach on Instagram, he posts some stuff, and after their workout, they get a sheet, and every day it asks a couple of different questions, what meal they want. It's like a meal ticket, and then they get that meal at the rink. But it also asks, how much sleep did you get last night? What's your mood like? Do you feel rested? Like simple, like bang, bang, bang. Like it's not going to be intrusive on the guy's life. But then that guy kind of takes that. He looks at kind of, okay, are these guys getting enough rest? And then he kind of talks to the coach, and then the coach maybe, I don't know, confers with an assistant or some other kind of a player development person in the organization or whatever. But it's a lot more collaborative it's becoming. Whereas we were talking about Babcock, where it was his way or the highway, like it was super structured, didn't even let his coaches run special teams. Like I think it's becoming a lot more collaborative, and it's good. Like, and there's other elements too. Like DJ Smith recently, he let the dads on the dad trip sit in on the video. And he said, we want them to be a part of absolutely everything. There's mother's trips now. That wasn't a thing. Sure. You know, who kids grow up with. It's your dad, obviously, at the rink, but it's your mom cooking all the meals. It's all these different things. Like, so kind of including those different elements, it's a lot more of the human aspect, but then it's still a fine line, right? Like if you get too much of a relationship, you're gonna have a hard time cutting a guy, and then you kind of get stuck with playing a guy who maybe shouldn't be just because you're a little bit more kind of friendly with him. But then if you treat him like meat, then the guys turn on you and you lose the room. So it's collaborative, but I think you got to kind of toe that line, and that's, I think, what makes a good coach is kind of fingered in all those pots. But
it's even like running a big, let's say like a Rogers or a TELUS or like a big company. That main head guy isn't worried about if that bill got paid or if the accounting's correct. Like you hire other people to take care of stuff they're good at, and get a team around you that hopefully can do things effectively and efficiently. And you know, so same as a coach, like you hire a goalie coach, you hire a skills coach, you hire a development team, you hire scouts, like, you know, not the coach necessarily, but as a good organization, you look at the teams that have won in the last little while, like they got a pretty good group of people around them, right? With scouts and all that stuff, right? Scouts, coaches, specialty coaches, you know, everything, right? And with going off of like those questionnaires and how detailed stuff is, I know in Hershey, like in the AHL, they're doing the same thing. Like you come in the morning, they even do like strips to see if you're hydrated or not, if you had enough water. Like it's really, and they have vitamins and supplements that they take that are all like laid out for you. And they do a questionnaire, they weigh in. A lot of it too is data. So what they'll do is they'll go last year and see at this same time period, roughly the same amount of games played, roughly the same kind of work week. How were we? And, you know, and then they also monitor the work that they do throughout the week. So like a lot of the guys will wear heart rate monitors and work output. So they'll know how, if they were, you know, how the week goes. So now the strength coach is having a little bit of impact on practice, which is kind of crazy. Cause back in the day, like strength coach would come in and tell coach like, hey, you might want to take it easy on the boys. Be like, beat it, get out of here. This is what we're doing today. Right. Where now it's like, hey, I know my recommendation would be like, just tailor off a little bit today, maybe keep it a little bit shorter, because by Friday, Saturday, a couple of these guys are going to be burned out, and it's all data stuff, right? So just collecting data on these guys, and we all know now how important data is for everything. Like whether you're starting a new business or whatever it is, collect as much, because it's valuable. It's actually worth currency, money, right? And on sports teams, it's money, because the better you produce, the better you play, the better, you know, winning percentage you have, all that stuff all goes hand in hand, right? But it's crazy how, when you look behind the scenes on how in-depth stuff is, you know, it's nuts, man. And if we tie that back to minor hockey, you know, how crazy is it though when you see these coaches that don't want to have a skills coach on the ice, right? Like, oh, we're good. You go watch their practice, they have a 45-minute J drill and a scrimmage. Like, like you're good. What are you talking about? You're good, you know? And so that to me is frustrating, because those are the young kids. Not saying they're going to play in the NHL, but those are the young kids that are going to impact the game later on, whether they're coaching or they're viewers or they're loving watching the NHL or whatever. And then, you know, the experiences that they have, not that they all have to be awesome experiences, but you want them to have fun. And, you know, and how frustrating is that for parents sitting there watching practice every day when the kids are doing nothing? And, you know, you're driving around 4 times a week to watch just, you know, terrible product on the ice, right? So
I agree. And I'm glad you brought this back to minor hockey, because I was thinking of it, you know, on some of the stuff you said, very different scale, but even talking like NHL coaches adapting to their team and their players and workload and all that stuff. But like, how often do we see, and like coaches, and you're talking about like minor hockey, but even bring it right down to, you know, young introductory programs, and coaches like, let's look at your players. I know you're not managing a dressing room. It's not really a team. It's just a group of kids that are out there, but like, look at your kids. Do they not know how to hold their stick? Okay, that step, you know what I mean? Or do they not know how to stop? Do they not know how to whatever? And maybe you have somebody like us out there helping, or you don't. But these coaches, they're disengaged, I find. You know, they're not engaged with what's happening with the kid. Not coaches, these dads, because they're all dads. So how do these guys stay engaged, and how do they stay like kind of change with what the requirements are for those kids? What do those kids need? Well, you're out there in skates anyway. or you're in the stands watching and you're the one bitching about what's happening on the ice. So help out. You don't have to be good at hockey. You don't even have to have played hockey as a kid, but like, hey, like, get out there and help out and just make sure they're having fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be teaching them. Just make sure they're having fun, going out there and working on your slap shot when there's another coach trying to teach probably is a bit counterproductive.
Yeah.
And I think I know that's a really big stretch comparing those, that to coach with some of the stuff we're talking about in the NHL, but I think there can be a small correlation to like coaches or dads just being aware of what's happening and trying to make sure the kids are having fun, maybe learning a little bit. And if you have extra help, like you're saying, then help those guys out.
Well, and I think like in the States, a lot of the minor hockey associations like we look at here are not that. They're like privately owned rinks with their own director of hockey. So that director of hockey overlooks, which is great. Finland does this. They have like main people, men and women that overlook that minor hockey and make sure that things are done the right way. We don't have that in Canada, let's be honest. We have a board of parents that make sure that the Adams got stickers for their helmet and the Pee-wee's got new water bottles and the Bantams got new jerseys. Like, so we don't have like, a lot of them have director of hockeys, but let's be honest, like some of them are great. Some of them are a joke. So there's no one really helping the coaches out. But for any minor hockey coach that's out here right now, and you've got two dads out helping out and they're like talking to each other about the night before, or they're, hanging on the boards, or they're slashing the kids in the corner, joking around. I think as a head coach, you need to do a better job of managing those other coaches where give them tasks. Like, hey, in this drill, like go through practice quickly and be like, hey, this drill, I want you to push pucks. Like I want you to pass pucks off here. And in this drill, I want you to make sure that you're adding static at the blue line and making them make a move around you or whatever, right? But getting them a little more engaged, because sometimes I don't think coaches do it to be rude. They just don't know what to do. And they're like, I don't want to get in the way. And then, hey, what'd you last night? And they start chatting about whatever. Yeah. Whereas, you gotta, now if you have a coach mentor, then maybe they can like kind of hit it right at the start of the year. Like if you're coaching on one of these teams, this is what's expected of you. Make sure you know what's going on in practice. Make sure whatever, right? But if you had coaches more engaged all the way through, what's the end result on that? You're hopefully gonna have some better hockey players down the road, right? You're gonna have players that are getting more feedback. They're getting stopped and corrected a little bit more. They're, and at the end of the day, is that not kind of what we want, right? Is the whole product to get better, the minor hockey system to get better, the players to get better, right? And it's frustrating for sure, man, because you see it so much,
I was talking to a parent / coach of a group this week about kind of the same idea, being like, I know sometimes parents look at, like, let's say us going out there and be like, well, there's a lot of teaching, like there's no fun, and my kid doesn't want to play in the NHL and he just wants to play house, like Adam Pee-wee House League. There's nothing wrong with that. I guarantee. And when he's Adam and Pee-wee, they're going to have a strong opinion. Like, these kids are opinionated. No, I don't want to do this. Yes, I want to do this. But at this age, they don't, when they're real, real young. So I guarantee they'll have more fun at those, even if they're playing Adam House League, Pee-wee House League, they're going to have more fun if they can stop when they get there. Yeah. If they can stop and they can raise a puck when they get to Adam House League or Pee-wee House League, then they're going to have more fun. So right now, when they're out on the ice just doing whatever, if we do, break them up into groups or like kind of hammer on them, make them stop both ways or get their hand on their stick in the right hand, like kind of really hammer on that now, they're going to have more fun when they're older. And if they decide they get older and they really like hockey and they want to do that extra stuff and they want to keep improving, then even better. They're already ahead of the game. But, and I think that comes from some parents being like, well, why is there so much teaching? The kids are just young. Well, I know they can't, do all the stuff yet, but you got to introduce it to them and it will be more fun for them. Like they're not allowed to go to school and just like, hey, what do you want to do today? Yeah. What are they going to do? They're going to go outside and play soccer. Yeah. That does sound awesome, but they can't do it all day, and so I think it's the same thing.
And there's ways like coaches can make it fun too. Like for us, like if we're out there doing a skating session, we're going to try to make it as fun as possible for us by messing around with the kids, trying to get them into it too. Right. And I was going to kind of go back to like coaches, like having them kind of help out a little bit more in practices. But like for me, sometimes I'm sure you guys get the same feeling sometimes, but you go and like, you got a coach passing, let's say in a drill, and you go up to him and you're like, hey, actually, this is how we're going to do it. I know the worst is when the guys are just ripping passes.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked, but I can't stand when like I'm looking, it's like backhand passes and buddy's just ripping them across. And he's like, I want him to be able to pick up backhand passes. I'm like,
let's start slow here.
Yeah, let's just maybe lay it out in front of them so they get used to actually holding their stick over here before you throw a grenade at them. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's good. Keep going.
But like the same thing, like just, you go up to one coach and you let them know, hey, we're just going to throw the puck in front of the players so they can handle it and make a move. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. Like, I never even thought about that. That makes way more sense than what I was doing. Like handcuffing the kid, like throwing it. Like
for sure.
So, and then you go tell another coach and he's like, yep. And then just like keeps doing what he's doing. Like, what are you doing, man? Like it happens more than you think for those sessions. But yeah.
But I mean, if I had an electrician come over to me and say, hey, when you hold your screwdriver, don't hold it like a stabbing thing. Just hold it at the end and twist it. Like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
No, you're an electrician. Okay, that makes sense. I'll try it. Like
totally.
Yeah, but some of these guys have played too, and that's where that gets kind of funny with hockey. But joke. Like, no, totally. Okay. But in their head, they're like, man, it's not how I did it. Like, I'll be fine. Like, and you just get a lot of stubborn. Like, and I think what you were saying too, then the way you explained it the first time is like, if you as a coach go up to another coach and say, well, no, this is kind of the reason I want to pass this way because I want to work on this or this. Like, okay, that makes sense. You know, if you're just like, hey, pass it this way because I said so. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whatever. You know, so I think it's also the approach on how you deal with it. But
sometimes you're like in the heat of a practice and you're trying to make sure, like for us, we're trying to make sure a couple things are going on. So I might like just, hey, yell over at them. But then I'll try to like make a point, at least if I remember, to go back and be like, hey, I want them to do this. Just like,
it's good. Yeah.
I'm not out there to tell you guys what to do or how to run things. But
I think this is really important for coaches, parents that are running drills or doing stuff with kids or even helping them in their backyard rink is like, what's the purpose of what you're doing? Are you just getting them to go around a bunch of cones because it looks cool and you saw it on YouTube and you saw it on Instagram? Or do you want him to get on his edges or her to get on her or hold the puck on her backhand here? Like that is more important to me than just going through a bunch of cool drills and putting a puck through a stick and shooting. Like that makes no sense to me. Like anybody can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but if you actually have a purpose of why you're doing it, then I think that's huge. So whether the pass is coming directly at them, across their body, flipped in the air, those are all good things. Just what's the purpose and what are you trying to accomplish with this, right? And explaining that to the kids and the parent and the coaches, I mean, and so that's a big thing for anybody working on skill development is it doesn't matter what you do. It's what's the purpose here and why are you doing it? And then what are the key things you need to be covering when you're doing it? Because man, so many times you see these drills, even in practice, like, why are you doing this right now? Because it's sick. Perfect. All right. Keep doing it. That's great. That's great. Yeah. Okay. Listen, I don't want to keep you guys all day. Appreciate you guys stopping by, but it is Christmas. So I want to chat quickly about any gifts you guys got, any good hockey gifts that you guys got back in the day, anything kind of fun, anything that kind of stands out that was like maybe hockey related or something you really wanted or something that you were kind of excited about.
Wade, you got to
give me multiple things.
I know Wade remembers all of his gifts, so you got to keep it to one gift per year.
Yeah. Well, actually, let's wait. Wade, what'd you ask for this year from Santa?
Let me go first because I feel like someone else is gonna steal this one. I think when like the One Pieces came out, that was like the biggest highlight of and I remember, I don't even know how old I was, probably like around 10, and like the new Synergy came out.
Oh yeah.
I think that was one of the first ones, right? It was like Synergy and
right?
maybe like Louisville, like the Response
or
whatever.
Those.
The yellow ones. Yeah.
The rubber?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I remember like waking up and seeing like, it was like a stick wrapped present or whatever and just ripping that baby open. I was pretty fired up.
Yeah, that is cool.
I remember just playing with it. I probably didn't play for like 3 or 4 more days. And I'm just like, I didn't want to shoot like on the cement with it or anything, but just like caroling on the carpet and I just remember being in love with that.
Yeah.
Mike Modano curve, if anyone was wondering.
Oh, sick. Yeah. That's a good curve. Yeah. Still around.
Yep.
Just to bug Kevy, I'm going to go with 2 stories.
Very good.
But no, I really want to be.
1990.
Yeah. I really want to be a goalie.
6 3/4.
Really wanted to be a goalie, so I asked for a goalie stick. And I remember it was a Cujo goalie stick. He was my favorite goalie at the time for the Leafs. But I actually found it like early before it was given to me. It wasn't really from Santa, luckily. It was from my parents, so that didn't blow his cover yet. That was a couple years after. But I found it in the cellar, and I like freaked out because I felt so bad that I found it. So I like cried. So softy.
Oh, man.
And
then
did
you tell your parents, or did you just?
I said, hey, like I'm just real sorry that I found it. Yeah. And then the other one
would have been complete tools if they said from Santa.
Yeah. But the other one, we got a GameCube. Me and my brother. He was big into gaming. I have no problem playing video games, but I got the NHL with it, an NHL game with it. And I remember it was like big deal at the time. Like graphics were starting to get a little bit better, so we were super excited to set it up, turn all the lights off so that we could convince our dad that the Leafs were on and that they'd won the Stanley Cup, because that was never going to happen when I was a kid. So those were the 2 kind of big ones as a kid. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Or when you're an adult.
Yeah.
Or last year.
Yeah. Or, yesterday. if my dad ever listens to this, he's gonna be so mad. But my mom is like a saint. So my mom would do everything. Like she's a shopper. She would take care of everything. But we always knew as kids, like every year, my dad was getting us all one, like he was going out on his own and he was getting us one gift, you know. Now, probably for my sisters, my mom gave him a hint, but he always like, I know it was like always easy for me. And it was just every year, I always couldn't wait for like the one that was like my dad's gift, because it was always hockey. Like it was a stick, it was a new pair of gloves. It was, you know, one time it was like tickets to see Chicago, Toronto at the old Gardens. Like it was always like something hockey.
That's sweet.
And we always got to open one gift Christmas Eve. Like that was just the rule in our house. That was our tradition. We got to open one gift. We could pick which one it was. And I every year picked my dad's gift just because it was the one we got to, you know, I was always pumped about it. So
that is cool.
I liked your gifts too, Mom. Don't worry. I love you.
I'm going to be home for Christmas. I'm 30. One of the ones I remember the most is getting like my first twist hockey game, like the old school, like little paper, putting all those little paper or plastic guys with the stickers on them and setting up the whole kind of twist hockey game. And that was, we played a lot, to be honest with you, which is like super old school, obviously. But, and we talk about sticks, like getting sticks for Christmas was another one that I loved. Yeah. Usually just like had a bow on it or something, or maybe it was wrapped like a stick, and mine were wood, like mine were pure wood, one like all the way top to bottom wood. We didn't have one.
A little bit cheaper.
Yeah, but I remember sleeping with my sticks. I remember getting a stick, cut it down, taping it. I don't know if you guys did. Wade was nodding over there like you did.
TPS rubber.
Man. Yeah. And then for a while,
it's the only rubber you ever sleep with.
For a while when I was young, I used to air my gear out in my bedroom. So I loved having it. It stunk so bad. My mom was like, "This is ridiculous, man. Like, you got to throw this back in the basement or garage where we were putting at the time." But yeah, I loved, when I fell in love with hockey, it was like, I was all in. Like, couldn't get enough of it, you know. But yeah, it was good, man.
Were you allowed to play in the pond? Because like growing up in Sudbury, were you allowed to play in the pond Christmas Day?
Sudbury, I mean, honestly, like by October, November, we had like ice on the rinks. So the lakes were for the most part going, but every single neighborhood that we like anybody lived in, buddies, us, whoever, there's an outdoor rink within.
No, I mean, but was it like, were you physically allowed on Christmas Day, like open gifts, spend a little family time, then like go to the pond? We had a pretty big day that day, like going to see my mom's side, my dad's side, whatever, but grandparents, all that stuff. But yeah, if we had time, like I remember one Christmas in Sudbury, there was no snow, which is rare, like super rare. Yeah, I was rollerblading on Christmas Day in my driveway playing hockey. Yeah. It's super rare, but it was an odd winter like years ago now, obviously. But we had no snow, so I was actually rollerblading on Christmas Day. But was I born then?
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
I don't remember that. How old are you for real? Like ballpark? Like
I was probably like 13, 14. So it would have been 100 years ago. Yeah, no, it was a while ago. All right, boys. Any big plans for Christmas? Maxie, just family stuff?
Yeah, just hanging around the area.
And Mace is getting like a little bit more into ripping presents open stuff this year. He'll be grabbing stuff for sure.
I don't know. I don't know if he'll really know.
He won't get it, but he'll be like just eating.
He'll be an animal
and stuff. Yeah,
ripping stuff off the tree already. It's just insane.
Is your tree like green all the way to halfway up, and then ornaments because he's just tearing it off, or not too bad?
It's pretty close. Like we kind of keep throwing a little bit higher and higher every time he rips it off. But it's bad. Yeah.
Wait, what about you?
Just laying low. Usually we've kind of gone away the last few years over Christmas, so just kind of laying low this time around.
Couple whiskeys?
Whiskey Wade.
I'm big beer guy.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. What about you, Kevy?
No, just hanging out, family time. Yeah. Just relaxing a bit. You're going away?
Yep. Going out east. I actually, before we leave or before you guys head out, I just need a couple $100 from each of you. I'll buy my tickets
for your kids' gifts.
Well,
I'm not giving you anything, but I'll pitch towards your kids' gifts, your kids' plane tickets.
All right, perfect. All right, boys. Thanks a lot. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone.
We'll have to do this again in the new year for sure. All right, take care. Come here.